Birthday party, am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up to
No,
any
well,
of them.
is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's I know about them.
Ellen,
Now-
were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times. Have you been to his parties?
I don't have any real personal beef with Diddy, but it's got to go down. The bits are there. I'm a gold miner. I just found some gold.
Leave it to Joe Rogan to drop a comment that flips the entire discussion on its head. This time around, the name he's putting under the microscope is Ellen DeGeneres. Ever since Diddy's federal case exploded into public consciousness, one persistent question has refused to die down. Why are the obvious connections being ignored? Ellen keeps getting pulled back into this story, yet mainstream voices seem strangely reluctant to engage with it. The moment Diddy's legal troubles became official news, the internet went into full investigation mode. Footage resurfaced, old interviews got rewatched. Throwaway moments from years ago suddenly carried weight they never had before. Ellen was impossible to avoid in that rewatch cycle. Clip after clip showed her and Diddy sharing easy laughs on her show, swapping party references like they were inside a joke together. And nobody back then thought it was anything worth examining.
All right, we're back with Sean Diddy Combs. Is it Diddy today? Because sometimes you're Puffy and sometimes you're Diddy. Or sometimes you're Daddy. What are you today?
I'm so confused today with it, as long as you say it in a nice way.
That casual comfort on screen looks entirely different now. And Joe Rogan had a very specific take on why that matters. His argument centers on a double standard. Ellen sat across from Diddy on camera more than once, let the party references roll without pushback, treated it all like lighthearted banter. Yet her name barely surfaces when commentators start listing people who should be answering questions. Rogan thinks that gap is not accidental. Those filmed conversations are now being treated not as entertainment moments, but as pieces of something much more troubling. And the absence of any response from Ellen is only making things worse for her
Going to be a
public
new thing?
standing.
Are you going to try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late,
What
please.
time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay,
But not
okay.
too late, because, you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
The
You know-
loudest thing in this whole situation might actually be what nobody is saying. That silence raises an uncomfortable fork in the road. Is this purely a case of unfortunate timing? Or is Ellen's name genuinely radioactive in a way that keeps people from going there? Adding fuel to that fire is the sequence of events around her show's collapse. The toxic workplace story wasn't a minor blip. It gutted her carefully constructed brand and permanently altered how audiences perceived her. Then she and Portia quietly packed up and settled in England, a decision Ellen attributed to the American political landscape. Many viewers weren't buying that framing. To them, the timing looked deliberate, a strategic exit during escalating scrutiny. Whether that reading is accurate or not, it became the dominant interpretation. The workplace story itself was brutal. Staff came forward describing an atmosphere of fear, racial bias, bullying management, a culture that punished honesty. The cruelest irony was the branding. Ellen built her entire public identity around kindness, and the people closest to her show were describing the opposite experience. The fallout forced producer firings and a public statement from Ellen. She claimed ignorance of the day-to-day toxic behavior. That answer satisfied some people and convinced absolutely nobody else.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show, and then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected.
The show limped forward for a while before Ellen wrapped it up, framing the ending as a creative decision. She needed a new challenge. The public largely didn't buy that story either. The more common read was that the audience trust had been permanently cracked and no amount of rebranding was going to fix it. With that background established, Rogan's comments about Ellen hit differently. On his podcast, he zeroed in on something that had been hiding in plain sight for years. A whole generation of celebrities treated Diddy's infamous parties like VIP credentials. Mentioning them wasn't embarrassing. It was a flex.
I guess Diddy just kept people at his houses because he's got multiple houses, and he's just had freak out part. Look at him! Look at Saucy Santana! Go Saucy!
Yeah. No, Saucy's crazy. Have you seen Saucy?
Rogan specifically brought up Ashton Kutcher as someone who talked about those gatherings openly, almost proudly. He then made a point that's hard to argue with. If you trace back where most of that on-camera party chatter happened, a significant chunk of it played out right there on Ellen's stage. His central question was devastating in its simplicity. How does an entire social circle spend years openly referencing these events, treating them like exclusive bragging rights, and then collectively claim blindness once the federal charges start describing what actually happened inside them? The 2018 clip keeps resurfacing because it's so specific. Diddy mentions to Ellen that he always sends her party invitations and she never comes. Then he describes how the real action doesn't start until midnight on the upper floors. Ellen's response is not confusion or discomfort. She reacts like someone who already has the full picture. That 8-second exchange has probably been analyzed more than any red carpet moment from that year.
What time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really, that early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
And then it will carry on there?
Yeah. Then the after party.
Rogan's frustration isn't just about Ellen. It's about selective accountability. She hosted Diddy repeatedly. The party conversation was almost a recurring segment. Yet when journalists and commentators started cataloging celebrity proximity to Diddy's world, her name kept getting quietly sidestepped. Older material started pulling more attention too. A 2002 appearance on Conan O'Brien resurfaced where Diddy made a joke about keeping doors locked at his parties. At the time, it registered as provocative comedy. Replayed in the current context, audiences aren't laughing. The same words that once seemed like irreverent humor, now read as something that was always more literal than anyone wanted to acknowledge. And that recontextualization is exactly what's driving the renewed scrutiny of everyone who appeared comfortable in that orbit.
Right. Just, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
As archived footage kept spreading, the conversation shifted toward a specific accusation. Not legal, but moral. Ellen was present for these exchanges. She reacted like she was in on it. So why has she said absolutely nothing since Diddy's world started collapsing publicly? A 2016 tweet resurfaced where Ellen had affectionately coined a nickname for Diddy, Cuddle McNuggle Stuff. Harmless when posted, it became kindling in the current climate. Then videos emerged of Ellen being confronted with questions about the whole situation and visibly disengaging. Some people watched those clips and saw guilt written all over her face. Others argued anyone would look uncomfortable being ambushed like that. The disagreement itself kept the story alive and spreading further.
I do feel like you may not do that. You're neat though, right? I would imagine your closet is color coordinated. Everything is hung in a certain, right? So you're neat, it's just that you're not the person that puts it back. All right.
Rogan's position strips away any complexity. If your relationship with someone was public enough to become a recurring TV bit, if you laughed about their party reputation on a national platform, if you reacted on screen in ways that suggested insider knowledge, then stepping back into total silence when that person faces criminal charges is going to look suspicious. That's not a legal conclusion. That's just basic optics. And in an era where public figures are held to audience-driven standards, optics carry enormous consequences regardless of what any courtroom decides.
Diddy party, but there's a camera that swings around and they go, hey, yo, oh, Odell Beckham. And you see Justin Bieber's head come up from his crotch and he looks in the camera and he's very confused. It's a really disturbing video.
At that time, Puff was the biggest guy in the world. You know, you couldn't even get in his parties. And he was throwing a party. He said, yo, Playboy, this party's $1.5 million. I said, for what? I mean, what are you saying? It costs $1.5 million to throw this party. I said, Puff, I love it. The party's amazing. Yes, the mayor is here and everything. I said, but that's too much. What? I said, you come to my place in LA? I'll throw you a party for $400. That will rival this party. And he got a little mad. He was like, yo, no, I'm known for this.
Collective silence across multiple celebrity names, Ellen included, that Rogan keeps returning to as the most telling detail. But the story doesn't stop there. There's a layer underneath all of this that makes the narrative even stickier. The same dynamic that defined the toxic workplace scandal. Powerful person at the center, staff afraid to push back, complaints buried under institutional loyalty, is exactly the framework people apply when they imagine how other celebrity networks function. Ellen's show becomes a template, not evidence, but a reference point for how easily environments of fear can hide behind polished public personas. This created one of the sharpest irony points in the whole discussion. In 2009, after Chris Brown assaulted Rihanna, and Ellen used her platform to press Diddy on why he allowed Chris Brown to use his home. She framed it as a matter of protecting young women. Her tone was righteous and unambiguous.
This leads me to the perfect thing, because I would like you to clear something up. There's a lot of talk going on with Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together.
And it's my house, and I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want to give my house to. That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody. And so if a friend or friends ask me for a favor, then I'm going to be...
Fast forward to the workplace allegations, and former staff members were using language like abusive environment to describe conditions on Ellen's own set. The audience noticed the gap between those two realities immediately. This isn't about proving criminal behavior, it's about the optics of someone championing women publicly while employees describe mistreatment privately. That contrast became the defining reason people use the word hypocrite in connection with her name. The property sale and England relocation added another thread. Selling a high-profile Montecito estate and settling in rural UK is not a typical celebrity move. Ellen's public explanation pointed to American politics, but with Diddy's case pulling more names into its gravitational field, audiences were already in a pattern recognition mindset, watching who stayed visible and who quietly disappeared from the American media landscape. A rumor then emerged claiming Ellen faced an arrest warrant connected to the death of her former DJ, Stephen Twitch Boss, in 2022, and that a recording had been entered as court evidence. Every major fact-checking outlet debunked it rapidly, but the speed at which it spread revealed something important. The audience had already decided Ellen fit a certain profile. The rumor didn't need to be verified because it felt compatible with the story people had already written in their heads. That's how damaged her credibility had become.
All right, well, let me catch up on what's been going on with me since you saw me last. I decided to take up gardening. I got chickens. Let me see what else I can tell you about that. It's been going on. Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show.
Her Netflix special, For Your Approval, offered a window into how she's processing all of it. She addressed the industry pushback with jokes, acknowledging that her Be Kind identity had been weaponized against her as the headline writing itself. But audiences didn't find the humor disarming. The tone struck many people as someone managing their image rather than genuinely confronting what happened. When she described how hate always travels louder than love in this industry, many viewers heard a person still centering themselves as the victim, not someone extending accountability toward the people her workplace allegedly harmed. Aaron Rodgers then went on Rogan's podcast and pushed an architectural comparison between Ellen's former set and locations associated with Jeffrey Epstein. Eddie Rogan immediately dismissed it as a coincidence, just a building that looked like other buildings in LA. But the fact that a sitting NFL quarterback felt comfortable floating that comparison on one of the world's most listened to podcasts tells you more about Ellen's current standing than any formal report could. Her name now exists in a space where even the wildest theories get airtime. Not because people have proof, but because the audience has decided she belongs in that conversation regardless.
Look at that, the temple, and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background. What? Oh, similar. That looks like a building, though. Like
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Is that a building in LA? That might be a building in LA.
Any comment section tied to this story, and the same patterns repeat. People citing her UK move as proof of flight. People crediting Rogan as the only voice willing to say what circles quietly among celebrity insiders. Body language breakdowns treating every sideways glance as damning. None of it constitutes evidence. All of it constitutes a verdict in the public arena. What's really driving this is a sense of unfinished accountability. The workplace scandal produced apologies that didn't land. The show ended without anyone feeling like justice was served. The relocation felt evasive. And now the Diddy situation has given all of that accumulated frustration a new place to attach itself. Yet Ellen becomes the symbol of a system where the right connections and enough money can absorb almost any scandal without real consequence. Rogan's actual point, stripped of the noise, is not that Ellen is criminally implicated. It's that the rules of public accountability seem to bend differently for certain names. The clips exist. The quotes are documented. The party references are on tape, and yet the interrogation applied to others never quite reaches her at the same intensity. Barring any verified legal development that directly ties her to Diddy's crimes, Ellen's legacy will most likely be defined by the workplace story and the brand collapse, not by conspiracy theories that fact-checkers have already dismantled. As for Diddy, the legal proceedings continue to generate new filings, new names, new angles. That the rewind culture that pulled Ellen back into the frame isn't going anywhere. It will keep running until every old interview has been picked apart and every party joke has been reassigned a new meaning. Where does that leave things? You already know the question, whether Ellen was genuinely aware of something she never disclosed, or whether the internet is just doing what it always does, building a story out of available footage and unresolved frustration. That's the debate that isn't going anywhere. Share your take in the comments. More breakdowns like this are waiting on the channel.